I want to comment about the public safety building going at where the firehouse is now, a combination of fire and police. The reason that I'm going to vote no on this resolution is for one thing and one thing only. For those who don't know, my family has been very involved in the police and the fire. My father, my uncle, my son were policemen, and my brother's a policeman now. When it comes to firemen, I have my grandfather, my father, 3 uncles were firemen in Cape May, and my other uncle was a fire chief in King of Prussia. And I want the fire and the police to have the best building that they can have. And I believe by having the best building is to separate them out so they have growth for the future, that they can grow. We're already adding 3 firemen to that firehouse now. What are we going to be like in the future? These buildings should be there for the next 100 years. And we have to look at growth on what they can hold and expand in the future. I want these firemen and police to have the best building. Right now, the police are working out of West Cape May. And we have a contract with West Cape May till 2025, where we pay $40,000 a year for the police to work out of that building. They have their locker rooms over there, they muster over there, they do processing of the criminals over there. They're not working out of City Hall, they're working out of West Cape May. Administratively, Chief Marino is working and the dispatchers here. When we combine these buildings, we don't know if we're even going to put in a dispatch. Are we going to county dispatch? These are questions that we have to answer before we build a building. I feel that we can, if we separate them out, we won't have the parking issue, because if we bring the police back into Cape May, we're going to bring back all those police cars and those workers that have to park here. And we're not going to have parking for all the workers that work in City Hall, the firehouse, and the police station. Let alone if we put in the library at Franklin Street School. There is no meter parking on Lafayette Street, Franklin Street. Where the library is now, there's meter parking. That's where people can park if they want to go to the library. Where are they going to park if we throw in the library at Franklin Street School? The committee did a great job in these RFPs. Before I went in and read those RFPs, I was actually on the fence thinking it would fit. When I saw the diagrams and how it would look and the renderings on that piece of property, that's when I realized it's not going to fit. When you look at 30,000 square feet, it's convention hall and additional half of a convention hall on that piece of property. And my concern is how it's going to take away from the landscape and the other houses in that area that are historic. And you're going to have this large building taking up this large piece of ground. And it has to be a large building to be 30,000 square feet. We're looking at 3 stories high. That's as high as Franklin Street School when you go across, all the way over to Washington Street. When we look at the price tag of 10 to 12, $15 million, in USA Architects RFP, they actually have a firehouse in there that they built that was 21,000 square feet for $3.3 million. When we are getting the price tag on this architect, it is based on the fact that it's going to be a $10 million project. Maybe we should take a step back and see if we should be spending almost $1 million on an architect if the project should not be that expensive. And again, I think that the fire and police deserve the best building that we can give them. And that is to separate them out. And when it comes to the fire, if we separate, we can get that built faster because there's more involved when it comes to a police station because of security measures that have to be involved. Thank you.
I would also like to make a statement. First, I do want to say directly to the police officers and the firemen in this room, thank you for your service to this community. Your dedication to the safety of our citizens and to our community is second to none. You deserve the finest facilities and equipment we can afford. I want to thank the hard work of the Public Safety Advisory Committee, for your commitment and dedication to this project. I especially want to thank the recently deceased former chairman and former Mayor Gaffney and Vice Chairman Barney Doherty for guiding this along. This committee was given a very difficult task, and frankly, in my mind, we made it almost impossible. The city administration called for a 30,000 square foot building, a building that Councilwoman Sheehan just mentioned is 50% larger than Convention Hall to fit on the current block. Our current firehouse is 7,800 square feet. We asked you to do this without formulating a budget and without knowing how much this building would even cost. We heard estimates between $12 and $15 million. The committee chairman, former Mayor Gaffney, said in his final presentation that we are trying to put a size 12 foot in a size 10 shoe. And I think that was exactly like Mr. Gaffney to use that. The vice chair, Barney Doherty, said it more bluntly. We tied our hands with this RFP. It's a disaster. Simply put, we put the cart before the horse. One of Mr. Gaffney's final statements he made to council was this: from here, you folks, council, have to go on with other things that have to do with financing and location. Although this firm was unanimous choice, the location, the firehouse, and police together was not a unanimous choice. A couple of members did not feel that that was the best spot for the police department, and I am one of those members. Mr. Gaffney also told several members of the public that he thought that this should go before a public referendum. Mr. Gaffney was right. It was not the job of the committee to work out the financials. That is council's job. It is our job as council to work hard for the firefighters, for the police officers, and for all of the citizens for what is best for the city. We need sound financial planning. We need to handle public funds with fiscal responsibility. We as a council need to think about the future of our city. Will these types of costs restrict us from proper hiring of the police? Will they restrict us of proper hiring of fire, EMS, and public works in the future? Will it restrict us from appropriate raises and other important projects that will certainly be ahead of us for this whole city? Adding an architect to this mess would be a disaster. We are already currently involved in an ongoing lawsuit with the architect from Convention Hall as we speak. So ongoing that last week we actually voted to keep him as our attorney as he changed firms. We're kind of following him through his entire career. We have had not one special public meeting on this subject. This is ridiculous given the potential expense of this project. In the past, in Cape May and in our surrounding towns, items this large are put out on the ballot, they are put out for a referendum, and there are multiple town hall meetings. None of that has happened here, and that is not right. As a councilman, I am not comfortable spending the public's money without real public input on an important issue. The public has every right to have a say on this project, and that is not after all of the major decisions have already been made. This resolution says, having carefully considered this matter. When? This is the first time we have discussed this openly as a council. This is the first time that we're discussing this publicly as a council. Should that be the first time that we vote on this? If we hire USA Architects at $715,000, we'll have spent close to over $1 million on this project without putting a shovel in the ground. I believe it's a mess. Many firehouses have been built for $3 million and less. It is also important to note that USA Architects was one of the most expensive architects that submitted proposals. How this was added to this this week's agenda, I believe, is a microcosm of how this council has treated this project. It was added to a very full agenda, including, of course, the budget and parking meters at 5 p.m. on Friday, a tactic that has been used several times since I began serving on this council only 3 months ago. It is wrong, and no matter what your opinion is on this topic, it does not give adequate time to make a wise decision. There are several other issues that should be publicly discussed. As mentioned, the library. What is the status of the library moving to the Franklin Street School? How can we possibly make a good sound decision, the one that's supposed to last the next 100 years, when we don't even know if that's going to happen within the next couple of months? Most people have not read the architect's proposals. In fact, until Councilwoman Sheehan and I asked to make those available to the public, they were not. Each architect was asked to cite previous work, and Councilwoman Sheehan brought this up. USA cited one firehouse, a 21,300 square foot building that was built for $3.38 million. Let me say that again. Even in USA's own proposal to us as a city, proposing a project that could cost up to $12 to $15 million, they did a 21,300 square foot firehouse for $3.38 million. They added that with their proposal. Why are we then discussing a public safety building that's 50% larger than Convention Hall that costs over $12 million? I also want to bring up the point of scoring on the architects. After architects were scored in 6 categories: experience of the firm, experience of the team, project approach, proposed schedule, financial proposal, and client reference, USA Architects was in 5th place out of 8. The final round was the interview. The winner, USA Architects, jumped from 5th place to 1st. The reason USA Architects won was because 5 out of the 8 architects received a score of 0. There is another issue that has been brought up, and frankly, in my mind, deserves serious scrutiny. Collingswood, New Jersey, is doing exactly the same 30,000 square foot public safety building. The mayor of Collingswood was hired by this council to bring redevelopment to Cape May, including this very block. Who was the architect that they hired? USA Architects. I don't believe that that's a coincidence. I've asked why we have paid this mayor from Camden County $14,000 for 2 trips to Cape May. One was for the redevelopment sales pitch at Convention Hall, and another bill came for looking at the Frank's Theater site. That's 2 trips to Cape May that cost the citizens $14,000. I mention these above issues because they need to be said to the public. Giving a contract tonight on top of this mess that already exists would only result in lawsuits, excessively expensive buildings, and higher taxes. What we need is a sound financial plan that makes sense for Cape May. Currently, we lease the police substation in West Cape May. Our lease agreement on the police department in West Cape May, as Councilwoman Sheehan mentioned, is up in 2025. That means we'll be paying for that contract for the next 6 years, whether we have a new police department or not. And at nearly the same time, our $10 million bond on Convention Hall would come to maturity, meaning that we would have a better chance to match our expenses with our revenues. Councilwoman Sheehan and I have agreed to put forth a resolution, not tonight because that would be inappropriate, but to immediately put out an RFP and go out to bid for a new firehouse, including OEM. The firehouse would be completed within 18 to 24 months. We have toured several top-notch facilities and believe Cape May could have a state-of-the-art fire department that would be something that all of us would be proud of for under $4 million. That's been done in many towns, and we believe that we can do that in 18 months. We can put the RFP right out, go out for competitive bidding, and get this done right away. This proposal will simplify this very complicated issue. It will make bidding more competitive when the police and fire are done separately. The reason for this is that there are far more architects and contractors who will do either fire stations or police departments individually, and there are far less contractors and architects who will do both together. Again, it would be a much more competitive bidding process if we separated these two buildings. After the fire department is built in 18 to 24 months, we can then begin to turn our attention to the police department. There is no doubt that there is a need for a new police department. I will say publicly today that I fully support and hope that you quote me on this to do a new police department in the future. But we need real financial planning that does not handicap our city for many years to come. Giving ourselves time to dedicate to the police department will give us a better product. The fact that our lease on the West Cape May substation ends at nearly the same time as our bond on the convention hall is a perfect situation. This project has been going on for 2 years. I've been on council for 3 months, and I feel that it is a complete mess. As new council members, Councilwoman Sheehan and I feel we should simplify this process by first completing the firehouse in 18 to 24 months for under $4 million. We believe that this efficiency and savings will allow for the proper staffing of both the police and the fire departments. Thank you.